Technology has a major role to play on the African continent in terms of economic development, innovation, job growth. Our Rising caught up with players in the tech space and picked their brains on the growth of technology and whether Nigeria can grow 1 million ICT jobs over the next 24 months.
There's been a lot of interesting sessions, a lot of interesting conversations being had about the progress that we're going to make on the continent, some of the challenges that we have, and what we can all do collectively as entrepreneurs, government, and the private sector to come together to solve it. So in general, my perception has been this has been very good.
Yes, we just launched a report actually here in the CEO Forum called Reimagining Africa, Turning Our Diversity into Opportunity. And the CEO Forum actually is an excellent example because you have people from all over the continent sort of coming together who are very diverse perspectives, diverse sectors, and coming in to sort of talk about how to drive the continent forward. A big theme for the conference actually was going from 300 to 3 billion, and we have a theme in the report as well around our big companies. We have about 345 big $1 billion companies in Africa, and we want to see more of it. So again, it's an excellent environment to have that kind of discussion.
I think it's a great platform because you have the leaders of private and public sector here. You also have entrepreneurs, which is important, and then you also have influencers as well, who are just going to talk about what's going on here. And so it's a great platform for networking. That's the first one. And so when you networking, sharing of ideas and experiences, and education. I mean, I've learned a couple of things, just listening to people, other people's journeys. I mean, I think one thing that was missing was I thought, I didn't say representation. I haven't seen representation in the entertainment industry, where we are seeing a lot of drive, especially from West African space. And, this is all great, but then again, so in 2 years' time or in a year's time, what have we achieved? What did we say here? And so I think that's what makes these things worth coming to see how the progress has been. What are we measuring ourselves against? I mean, I like the thing from 300 to 3,000, but have we taken a benchmark?
I think the projections are more positive than not. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything is rosy and everything is great. We have some challenges. As we know, most companies may have underperformed. The era of easy money is gone, so it's going to be much harder to raise capital. But that also means that it creates an opportunity for the best founders to now shine. So the best companies are going to do well. The most resilient companies are going to do well. The most resourceful companies are going to do well. So I think that if we look at the doom and gloom of there is no capital available, that might paint a different picture. But the reality is that we don't lack for problems and we don't lack for creativity. So I definitely believe that the next couple of years for fintech will be boom years, because then we get to the heart of the matter and we start to solve real problems. And it won't just be about raising money, it will be about solving problems.
We're very, very excited to see what's happening at the moment. We actually talk about a fintech eruption on the continent and not even disruption. And if you think about all the factors, sort of the circular factors that lead to growth, we have everything. We have a young population. You have a lot of innovation coming on. We have deep problems to solve on the continent. And, for me, the only way is up. We're a continent that has, probably call it 20% digital payments penetration. If you're being optimistic, you have all the different innovations, mobile money, you have our payments, you have all of our payments fintech that are doing very well. So I think when you think about sort of where we are, you think about the problems we have to solve, you think about the innovation we're already seeing, I think the future is very bright for fintech on the African continent.
I think fintech, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic because one, I mean, you have all the ingredients for growth in every aspect. But then again, you have to look at the fintechs themselves, us, right, who are in the fintech space, and also look at the environment, all the other stakeholders. And if I look at us, the biggest issue is going to be trust and transparency. because you're asking people to change their lifestyle and bet on you. And so you have to build those trust capabilities into your system. You have to be transparent. Governance, processes, automation, so that people can see and believe, right? Because it's not a physical asset. It's actually, especially like organizations like Sparkle, we're digital. So we have to continuously communicate, continuously educate. And then, fintech can only be as big as, how you allow it. Digital liquidity is very key. If I'm transferring money to a farmer in the village, can he use that? Can he buy and sell it in the market, or is it still going to need cash? Those are going to be factors. Then you also have, I think finally, I won't flog the regulators or legislators, but what you need is digital leadership. Now, digital leadership is your leaders understanding that technology is a driver for health, for education, for agriculture, because if you can tech that, like you have tech finance, then it will just increase the apple, and then you're all forced, right, to really adopt technology. So it's going to depend on many factors, but definitely, is it here to stay? Is it going to grow? How is it going to grow? Depends on all those factors.
Well, payroll is, not to be glib, but payroll is essentially what powers life. I get a salary, you probably get a salary, and that money allows me to pay my rent, put fuel in my car. So payroll is key. It's very, very important. And due to that importance, we think that we can make more sense of it. And it's a problem that is far-reaching. So Bento, our goal is to become the largest payroll company in Africa. So that means we have to be present in every African country. So we're very much on the way. We're in 16 countries now. It's not easy, but we're still doing it. Interesting conversations there.
I think the services sector, and you'll see a chart in our report, actually in Nigeria, the services sector accounted for 30% of the decline in growth that we saw. And it's important that we kind of figure out how to reverse that trend. We have a very young population that needs to, if you speak to any tech founder, in fact, not even tech founder, if you speak to any entrepreneur or even companies, the biggest problem they talk about is talent. And so for me, one of the levers that we can actually push to help solve our problems and lift up productivity in the services sector is the education of the young talent that we have on the continent and in Nigeria. Estimates project that we will have 790 million new people added to the workforce. So you really need to do something about that. If not, we're not going to reap the demographic dividend. So it's important that we educate this talent. And also, actually, one other point I would also add is just sort of leverage the technology that we're seeing, leverage all the innovations that we're seeing across sectors. So whether it is health, whether it's financial services, whether it's education, I think digital and technology has a huge potential to help us drive productivity on the continent as well.
So when you say 1 million in 2 years in a country of 200 million people and you divide it by 24 months, it's definitely doable. I wouldn't say ICT, I would say ICT related. It's definitely, but it's back to that digital leadership. Who are the people that are going to be responsible? Who are the people that are going to coordinate? And I think what we have are great ideas and great leaders, but information is in silos. So what the central bank is doing, what the tax authorities are doing, are they talking to each other and saying, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? What are the goals? What are the coordinated goals? It's achievable, but it's going to require definite coordination, collaboration, and believe that technology is the way to scale education, because technology is the only thing that you can use to scale products and services, scale addressing the issues. And if you don't have people that understand the power of that, especially in an economy where there's no infrastructure, so it's an opportunity for us to do that, then 1 million is actually too small. Right? 1 million, we're talking about 300 to 3,000 here, and we're talking about 1 million in a company where unemployment is so high. We have to aim higher, and we can.
So I think if it's intentional, if there's real intent behind it, it probably is achievable for a couple of reasons. Number one, we are seeing a convergence of things. Work from home means that if you're an accountant in America today, if you're working in finance in America today, if you're doing data science, if you're doing any of those jobs that can be done from home, those jobs are now portable. So if we were to appoint a job czar and say, okay, like the number was what, 1 million jobs, and we told the job czar, get 100,000 accountant jobs, get 100,000 data jobs, get 100,000 business processing outsourcing jobs. That means you're going to the IBMs of the world, you're going to the Microsofts, and you're letting them know we have this massive demographic advantage. We speak the language, and we can help you save money. So the jobs that you're paying $100,000 for in the US, you'll be paying $25,000, $30,000 for in Nigeria. So I do believe it's achievable, but it would take concerted effort from the government, appointing the job czar, making sure that we are actively approaching these companies in the West and letting them know, and at the same time, working with our institutions, our educational institutions, to make sure that they bring in out talent that will meet the challenges of the moment. So I definitely think it's possible. Of course, as with everything else, the will and the intent has to be there.